deal with this phone number because they haven't changed my phone number ever in like the past 3 years or so. That one I wanted to test out if the Elon had stopped auto banning people for all sorts of stuff. So I called Steve Jobs' current girlfriend slash wife slash live-in hooker just a bunch of really nasty words, and then I was instantly banned within like 5 seconds. So apparently
That's not bad. That
they
doesn't seem
still
that.
well, it's like a VIP system. The people who are important, they have like media handlers and probably like their own AI that just monitors for people saying bad things about them, and I assume it just doxes them to these people. So
I got banned for a couple things. I think my first ban was I was making fake news about Kyle Rittenhouse. So I photoshopped him laying in bed with the girl of the guy's girlfriend that he killed.
yeah,
It was them laying in bed
based by
together.
the way, very based.
Yeah, and I went through a manic episode and posted it like thousands of times. So I probably got flagged as a spam bot or something.
Well, I've been
By
banned from Twitter probably a couple dozen times since about mm, the first real purge in 2016ish or 2015ish.
yeah, yeah, me too. I got banned once, and I was saying this ironically, but I said kill all the Jews twice. So you obviously that's not even possible.
Well,
So I think that was
you got to say it
unfair.
once for emphasis, and you're allowed to do that. But then if you do it after that, it's kind of like a social faux pas, and you're just not cool
No, I
because
didn't
everyone
say it
loves
twice.
them.
I said you should kill them all twice.
Oh well, yeah, that's just impossible. I think that's like a double
Right?
negative. If
That's
you
what I'm
do it
saying.
twice, they come back. You know,
It's
it,
like double jeopardy.
it's like in Final Fantasy Tactics, where like if you absorb an element and you're weak to it, they compound into like you absorb twice the amount because weak
Yeah,
doubles damage or something.
I think that was actually one of Mengele's experiments was seeing how
Y-
the Jews absorbed different elements. That was
Yeah,
one of his things.
yeah, he would put them in a chamber with like a black mage, and the black mage would get ready to cast fire, and then just as the Jew was about to get blasted by like a fire spell, he would slap a fire shield, and then he would slap oh gosh, I can't remember which accessory gives you like weakness to fire. Maybe it was like a certain
Being
monster.
a pro-Palestinian protester.
Well, no, those are weak to like bulldozers.
No, I remember one egregious thing they did, and I learned about this in the Holocaust Museum, is that they would take Jews and throw them into a cage with a talking rape dog, and then crossbreed them for the purposes of some sort of alien being. I saw that in the New York City Holocaust Museum.
Yeah, I saw that too. It was a sort of, it wasn't really a rape dog. It was more like a sort of lion with a mohawk, and it had like a tattoo that had the text red and then XIII on its rear hip, and it was like absolutely going to town on this Jewish woman, and she seemed to be really enjoying herself.
Yeah, that was a deleted scene from Schindler's List.
I think it was called
Steven Spielberg.
It was called
Steven
Schindler's
Spielberg.
List. We are referencing the same thing, right? Schindler's List. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, no, I've
This
seen that one. That was
the
a good.
scene
That
in
was a good
Final
movie.
the scene in Final Fantasy VII where Hojo wants to breed Eris and Red 13 because they're both nearly
Yeah,
extinct species, and so naturally he just puts
I
these like two entirely distinct species in like a cage and just hey, go to Pound Town.
Barrett as a character never made a lot of sense to me. Like, if they live in this totalitarian society, nobody thinks it's weird that this black guy has a gun arm, just walking around with a white daughter. Everybody in Japan is cool with
He
that.
he's like a prototype George Droid, in that he
Yeah,
it was back before they had like the
he is like George
the
Droid. That's a great
Nickelink,
point.
before they had the Nickelink technology, and it was just mechanical. There was no electronics. It was
You
back
know
in the analog
that
era.
that shit that they're pulling out of the ground and do you think that's fent?
The
The
Mako stuff, is it like? Well,
do
I
you,
mean,
yeah, do you think that's fentanyl?
I think it could be a fentanyl reactor. I don't know. Well, they do have Mako reactors. Is Mako the same as fentanyl? Is there
That's
fentanyl
what I'm
under
that's
the
what I'm
earth?
saying. Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it comes from. They just dig it out in China,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they probably dig it out and then just eat it like it's alive. They just like get some sewage oil and then just like yeah, use their chopsticks to pull some of it into like a boiling pot and while it's still alive, and then boil it and scream it as it's screaming, and then just noodle it into their mouth. Like they don't even chew; they just like hold the bowl up to their mouth with their chopsticks and they just pour it down their throat, and like the parasites that are inside their body pull the noodles down their throat. So it's just like it's like a composite organism. Chinese are composite organisms.
No,
They
that's
have a
true. Have you seen like Chinese live leak videos of like guys getting sucked into drill presses and shit
escalators.
like that?
Drove.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah.
want to talk
That's
about
hilarious.
the real Holocaust? It's Chinese people with the escalators. Talk about 6 million. Um
Well,
I used to work.
well, the issue with that is that we're living in the Final Destination universe where Japan should have won World War II, at least in regards to China, and because it didn't, the natural world is constantly trying to correct this by just sucking them into escalators.
Maybe that's where the Mako comes from. So they get sucked back into the earth and
They're
it's
returning
like a
to the
line.
planet. Yeah,
It's like the line, the escalators eat the grass.
the
Who
circle of
eats
life.
the
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Um that's a really right-wing movie, by the way. I
yeah.
watch that with the kids a lot. It's basically like they kill the king and let in a mob of like foreign like
Brown things.
yeah,
Yes,
like the foreign hordes and
in the brown.
yeah.
And then the prince runs away with like a gay couple, Timon and Pumbaa, and they eat
Oh
bugs.
yeah.
I assume the bugs
Yeah, yeah,
represent
yeah.
the anal parasites they have. They're
Well,
the bugs they're carrying.
that's
In there.
straight up like live in the pod and eat the bugs kind of stuff,
That's
you
true.
know? It's like don't go get a girlfriend, just hang out with us and play PlayStation. Come play Grand Theft Auto in the jungle with us while the hordes take over your hometown, which,
Well,
who hasn't been there?
the thing is though, if like after a while, IRL Grand Theft Auto, in the sense of not really of actual Grand Theft Auto, the crime, but of just doing stuff on the streets and harassing homeless people, is a lot more fun than playing like fake Grand Theft Auto on your PlayStation 2 with your buddies while you smoke weed.
Yeah, that was another big early internet thing. Do you remember bum fights?
I do remember
Um,
bump fights.
that was a huge, yeah, I was a huge fan of that back in the day. That whole like bum fights, jackass era. Um, there's kind of like descendants of that now. They have like the drone that fucks with homeless people, but that's not
The
really the same thing.
Yeah, it's like the drone that follows the prostitutes in like Los Angeles or Washington.
Yeah, and that's okay, but it's not the same thing as like
Yeah.
paying two homeless guys to like.
Well, I mean, I was at the 7-Eleven a couple days ago and I was talking about how to deal with the homeless problem we have here in the West Coast where I live. And we came to the conclusion that the problem isn't the homeless people, the problem is the police. Because honestly, the homeless people are easy to take care of. It's just you'll go to prison if you do. And he told me that they had like a homeless guy that spat in like a clerk's face. So he went out around the corner and paid two bums $50 each to beat the shit out of that guy. So you can do bum fights in like a pro-social sort of way by paying them to beat up the more feral homeless people. And that sounds like a solution to me. Not necessarily a final one, but it works.
That's interesting. That's how a lot of the gangs work on the West Coast, believe it or not. It's like the Chinese and like the South American gangs just pay Black American gangs to fight each other like through proxy wars to
Yeah,
sell.
fentanyl. Yeah, yeah, I
Well,
read about
okay,
that.
so fentanyl is kind of like on its way out now. That this is
What
according to like a YouTube video I watched, so who knows?
is,
But
is this? Is
fentanyl,
it
the thing that's
carfentanil or something?
well, yeah, that's I think
Something.
that's the same thing. But it's
It's the one
basically
that makes
this.
them bleed.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about, the trank. So it's basically like a
Yeah.
horse tranquilizer, and when you inject this shit, it gives you open wounds that won't close.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw a girl who, when I was in I took the Greyhound bus from really far out east to where I am right now on the West Coast, and we went through Los Angeles because I actually took the southern route instead of the northern route, which is a mistake. And this girl had these bleeding sores all over her legs and arms. She wanted to use my phone, and I had like disinfectant in a spray bottle because of course I would. I'm from taking the bus, so I just let her use my phone. And while she was looking at me afterwards, I sprayed it down with rubbing alcohol and then wiped it off.
damn. Did you try spraying her and see
I
what
I just
happened?
I didn't want. I was afraid she would like melt like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, that's crazy. So she's just walking around with like Ebola virus on the bus, asking
Yeah,
to borrow. What a fucking world we
she
live in,
wasn't
man.
even on the bus. She was in the bus station in like Los
I was
Angeles,
wondering. Yeah, I was wondering how she managed a bus ticket.
and
That
she
makes
was
more
trying to
sense.
call someone to get a bus ticket to go to Colorado. So I mean, I could outrun her, so I wasn't too worried. I mean, if I can beat the crap out of someone or outrun them, I'll be a little more charitable with a homeless person versus if I can't, because you know all power comes from force, and so I have power over them, so I can give them a little bit more leeway.
Yeah, I used to work with a lot of crazy homeless people.
Really?
In Florida, I actually worked for. It was one of the biggest homeless recovery initiatives in the county in the early 2000s, but we ended up getting shut down. I think I've posted about this before, but what we basically did was like a carrot and a stick model.
Oh yeah, you told me
So
about this, where the
yeah,
police
yeah,
would go out and beat the shit out of them, and then if
yeah. Well,
they said
that's.
no,
I mean, when you put it like that, it doesn't sound great.
oh, it sounds
Um,
awesome. I'd sign up for beating the shit out of homeless people. That would be
so
like my ideal career.
I mean, that was one step in a process that we did. So we basically would show up and hey, what's going on? You need help. You need your ID. You bet like social security checks you're not collecting or something. Like, how can we help you?
Yeah,
And then they always say no. I don't want help. I just want to sit here and shoot up or whatever. And they say okay. Well, the cop's going to come by in 24 hours and he's going to rough you up a little bit, and then I'll be back next week, and then we'll just continue this until you feel like going and get a job at McDonald's or whatever.
yeah. Until you get the hint.
Um, Yeah, and that actually worked really well. It spread, it got really big. We even had somebody from India reach out to us because they wanted the program to go there because they had
Yeah,
similar issues.
I
Yeah.
think the issue with
Um,
India is they just need to have like a calicrate goat bander and sell all the people they castrate to China so they can pick cotton with the Uyghurs. You know who
yeah.
the Uyghurs are, right?
Yeah, no, they're the guys who they wear Jinko jeans and you know, they hang out with black guys, but they're not quite, like
No, no, I'm talking about the Muslims who live in like Uighir or something in like far western China. And like what they would do is, since they're Muslims and they live off yak milk and meat, they would go into like Chinese bus stations with like a buster sword, and they would just get their limit break, and the Omni slash animation when Cloud is about to kill Sephiroth at the end of the game would start playing out with the swords flashing, and then like they would get like 180 body counts against like the most fragile Chinese people to ever exist. It's just like you
Damn,
just
dude. Could you imagine if you're just a Chinese grandpa minding your own business at the bus station, you're just like eating your octopus legs and playing Wachinko, and then you hear the Final Fantasy battle music start playing
yeah,
out of
and
nowhere.
it's like the
Oh,
lively
fuck, the
logo
Uyghurs are here.
of bus stations. Yeah, and
I was just reading about them today, actually,
like
and they look.
I've
I can't.
seen
They look like
they legit get like
Happas. They look like
120 body counts. 100 they would kill 120 people with machetes, like two or three of them in like a bus station or train station in China. Granted, it's a train station in China, so if you like, swing your
Yeah, that's
machete
just
and
like
like a
a
circle,
Dead
that's
Rising.
like that's like
It's like a
five
Dead Rising
casualties
level.
right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
like you basically cannot lose. You cannot get the low score in this situation. They've discovered the meta. I mean, they've totally optimized their gamer strategy,
yeah.
and they
They
do
do
they
the
are
same thing
Happas.
in India. Right,
In
right, right. They look like Happas. I don't
well, they
know if
are
that's accurate or not, but that's what they look like.
like if you look at them, there's a bunch of different
Well, so
photos, and they
what are
all
they?
look very
What are they half?
well. They're ethnically they're like they're mutts. Some of them look like gingers. Some of them look like white people, like Nordics. Gingers and people being distinct, but and then some of them sort of look like Melee, my favorite Happa, and some of them just look like Elliot Rodger, but more 6'5" and muscle bound, and but still psychopathic and angry because they are mixed people. They were I you'd have to talk to Bap about this, but there's so many ancient historical records, and they were basically horse peoples in the plains coming from probably what is around Ukraine or Eastern Russia, or was it Western Russia, I should say, right now. And they got on their horses and they went over there and they did their thing. And then probably 200 years ago, the Chinese conquered them, and it's just been downhill for them since then. I mean, the whole like Muslim thing of marrying your cousin and being gradually becoming retarded over a few generations probably didn't help them, but
Well,
they
I
absolutely
mean,
are European.
that's probably the only way to resist being absorbed into the Chinese blob, because the Chinese have been conquered so many times, and their conquerors always just get consumed and they become Han Chinese. So, one way around that is just to fuck your cousin, and then you never have to worry about becoming, a permanent Chinese guy.
Well, the thing you have to do, it's not really a bad deal, but the thing you have to do is basically just every time they conquer Chinese, just take all the women and just castrate the men, like with your calibrate goat bander, and do that for a few generations, but only do it to the men who do not have your phenotype. So if you're like a ginger horseman who's like really pale and 6'5", just every guy who comes out with black hair and brown eyes, like he gets to pick cotton for the rest of his life. And then it should only take about 2 or 3 generations for it to for the your phenotype to express itself. But in the meantime, you'll get a lot of melee pussy. So that's a really good trade off, I think. Like that's one reason why I want to move to like Africa or South America or the Middle East and convert to whatever dumb local religion they have there. Superficially convert, insincerely convert, and just become like become Sneed, Seed, and Feed, and have my people there, my the people I own. That is, I can't say the word out loud right now, and just do exactly that.
Yeah,
That's my
if
plan.
I think so we didn't get this earlier, but you said you live in a Japanese hotel with paper thin walls, and your roommates are all Jewish, right?
Oh well, one is of the religion. He's actually the sanest one. He's a IT guy, and he's very considerate, mildly
What does
autistic.
that stand for? An interconnected tunnel? Is he one of the tunnel guys? Is that what that
Well, we're on like a fourth floor, so we can't really tunnel where we are. But he's like an internet technology sort of guy. He does that for a living. He's just living here because he doesn't want to live with his mom right now. And then my other
Oh,
roommates
okay.
include
Dark web kind of guy,
yeah. Well,
sitting. Yeah, the cheese pizza kind of Jew. I gotcha.
I don't think he's one of those. He seems very sedate. He might be a furry, but that's about the extent of it. I think he doesn't seem even remotely neurotic at all. He seems like the opposite of neurotic, in my opinion. So I don't think he's one of those people. And my other roommates include a sort of Dutch Anglo-Saxon looking sort of guy who's complete and utter shitlib, and he's just tall and thin and high forehead, glasses, good jawline,
Oh yeah,
muscular,
just a
athletic,
big,
and
big Adam's
just
apple having motherfucker.
yeah, and just complete and utter shitlib. And then my last roommate is a African American gentleman who works in a psych ward, I think, or with the mentally disabled. So he and I get along fine because I'm crazy and he's used to dealing with crazies. So it works.
Oh, nice,
Yep.
nice. So you guys are like the Captain Planet squad. You just need
Oh,
a kid in a wheelchair.
yeah, we do have an extra room available, so we're always looking for the last part of the village people.
Yeah, you just need like an Indian kid with broken legs, with a shattered body, so you can summon your version of Captain Planet.
Yeah,
Um,
Captain Planet.
Captain Planet with Down syndrome. Um, yeah. So what do you think about this whole Palestine thing that's going
Ah,
on? They're gonna turn it into the Jersey Shore. Like is that tight or is
I
that
mean that kind of
fringe?
already is what Israel is. It's basically just a project for uh, highly inbred people from the Italian peninsula
They like
to like
clubs, right? They love
yeah,
nightclubs over there.
yeah, they love flashy jewelry, spray tans, obnoxious haircuts, being gay, fighting in public, being annoying, being loud. So I think that that would be a good fit for them. I just hope that we can speed up the process of Aaliyah and getting them all to move from here to there, and then possibly to make sure that they're really safe there, we could build some big walls with concertina wire and barbed wire and guard towers with guns and German shepherds all around the exterior to make sure that they're really extra safe in there. And then no one's going to bother them. And then we could, build like swimming pools and make sure that they don't have like lice, and just generally make sure that they're very comfy and happy in their little ghetto, and then they could do their thing out there. That's really what they need to be happy.
Yeah, and they love, they like to look snappy and they like new shoes and stuff like that. So like mountains of shoes for
Yeah,
them to
we're
choose
gonna
from.
we're gonna have like all the designer shoe companies in like Italy and France and probably England and America just make all of the best shoes just handmade for every single one of them, and we're gonna like take them over there and like have you ever seen like a bar mitzvah where they just put like a pile of chocolate coins in the middle of a table and they all just the little goblins and gremlins, they just grab at it and like greedy little claws, and we're gonna do that with shoes, only it's gonna be the women grabbing them and they're gonna be like walking around and squawking commands at one another like some kind of waiting bird in like a pool fighting over a fish or something.
Right. So what do you think about like this whole Palantir thing? Like Peter Thiel, all these guys. Do you think it's like a big conspiracy?
Well,
Or
Peter Thiel, he's part, like he's a member of multiple factions. Like I don't think there's a single conspiracy. I think there's a bunch of conspiracies, and conspiracies need conspirators. And he's a member of the Silicon Valley faction, like the gay faction, like the log cabin
You
Republican
know,
gay faction.
I think that him and Bezos are all part of the Jersey Shore fact. If you just look at them, I think
Yeah, well,
that's
I
all.
don't think he is part of the Jersey. He might be. He looks pretty odd. He has those weird lips and the ears, but I don't know. He seems more like German-ish, not really like the true Germans, but like the leftovers of the Germans who were too cowardly or diseased or deformed to fight in the wars and who didn't die in the wars. And so these are the ones who got to reproduce. And also, probably there's probably been several generations of uh, uh, molestation and abuse in his family. And that's why he is, yeah, that's why he's gay.
Yeah,
So,
he's like German Mishima. So instead of
yeah,
being a great writer, he's just an autistic data guy who made
yeah,
PayPal.
yeah. He's just like all about getting the trains running on time and both the sense of trains on rails and also trains in like gay bars getting run
Yeah,
on him.
he hates when the trains are tardy.
Yeah. It needs the train runs on my assholes.
So okay, here's my conspiracy. And the reason I didn't care what you were gonna say. I just asked you so I
Yeah,
could say
yeah.
what I was already thinking. Of
Well,
course.
that's
Of
fine with
course.
me. I don't care what I was saying anyways.
Okay. Um, no, okay, so Palantir, Thiel backs a bunch of these guys. They're basically like a data company, and they run predictive AI, almost like uh, was that movie with Tom Cruise where he's like the
Minority
computer's
Report.
trying. Yeah, Minority Report.
That is a
They
very evocative title, by the way.
yeah, the Minority Report, 10 bicycles. Um,
Despite being
ten,
13% of the population.
we got today's Minority Report. 10 bicycles, 3 bottles of Crown Royal liquor.
Uh,
Um,
thir- 30 wounded, 0 dead.
so, um, all right. So they have like this Minority Report software that they've used in other areas to predict terrorism and shit like that. And they're already working with Israel. One of the guys used to work for the Israeli government. Yada yada yada. So I think this is like a win-win situation where they go over there, they try to build a hotel, it gets blown up. It's a forever hotel building. Everybody's making money. They train all this data off of it, and everybody just gets a piece of the pie.
Uh,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
everybody gets their kickback. Everyone except the people who are paying for it when. And yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that the Palestinians, like the Muslims, certainly the Christians are going to probably be relocated to existing Christian enclaves, Palestinian Christian enclaves, such as El Salvador and various South American countries. And I think there's some somewhere in Africa. They sort of fill the same role as Guptas and Gupta Indians, and that's like a single Indian caste throughout Africa, where they're just middlemen minorities. So I think they'll be fine. It'll kind of suck for them losing all the Christian churches they have, but whatever. So one group has power, one does not. We just have to deal with it. But the Muslims are probably going to be deported to the surrounding countries and just be forcibly integrated. Like I think Trump's going to use economic sanctions to make Egypt and Jordan and whoever else gets these Palestinians to actually integrate them into the economy instead of doing what they did before and put them in refugee camps and let Hamas rule them and let them just breed terrorists. They're going to be working and intermarrying with the locals and just be integrated into the population, which is what should have been done 90 fucking years ago or whatever the fuck, whenever all this shit first started over there.
yeah. I think Trump basically cut everybody's foreign aid except for Israel and Egypt. So it seems
Well,
like he's going to push them out and send them to Egypt.
it seems like
Um,
it's conditional. Like the aid for at least Egypt is conditional on just accepting the Gazans and
yeah,
especially integrating them into
they
Egyptian
got to
society.
take all the beach gypsies. I think that was the agreement.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. Like my only concern is that because I'm poor as fuck and I'm not saving money up fast enough because I have to support some fucking some fucking retard who spends all the money I give him for tuition on kratom and dips and all this other stupid shit. I could be saving money so much faster. And also, if Amazon wasn't so retarded and my bank wasn't so retarded. But I would really like to be like, living in like my fortified compound with my 20 wives somewhere in a third world shithole, and a bunch of my buddies who also have 20 wives and are very armed to the teeth, and just buy a bunch of Palestinian women and Yemeni women, and just, kind of bleach the gene pool out there. And then I'd probably sell a few of my daughters to sheiks, oil sheiks, who want a ginger child, ginger wife. And then I would use that to buy like donor eggs from like Scotland and Finland and use those to.
To
Uh,
hatch. You're just describing the plot of Game of Thrones now.
is that Game of
You're,
Thrones?
you're gonna sell your white daughter to buy eggs and hatch them to
Not
conquer
dragon
the
eggs. I was
seven. Oh, okay.
No. I'm going to buy donor eggs for to make like my actual white kids.
To conquer Westeros.
Yes, to conquer Westeros, but and really just to because like I don't want to conquer because like conquering is extremely obvious and explicit, and that'll really just call down all the authorities, all like there are all these systems designed to make sure that white people don't go out and conquer stuff, but there are no systems in place to make sure that white people don't infiltrate and like become the right hand man of like some sort of dictator in a third world country and help control the import of food from the United States by learning how to run a port or how to run a warehouse, especially a refrigerated warehouse, and keep all the generators running because you know how to run like a gas station too and keep the fuel topped up. And just if you control the food supply and via the imports to these countries, you basically control the country. And
So this is all for the sake of like impregnating Saudi Arabian women. Couldn't
this
you
is
just like African women?
well,
Couldn't you just like show them like your Bic lighter and that would be enough to get them to fuck you?
well. The thing is, like that same logic applies to all the African men in there, and all the African men have AIDS from cornholing one another.
Yeah, well, you
So
could get them to submit to you. Just like pull out a yo-yo and do like a couple yo-yo tricks,
I
and
could
then they'll
show 'em my Pokemon card collection.
yeah, yeah, a couple hollows. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? A
I'm
couple
a
first
wizard.
edition.
I'm a wizard. I can summon spirits. These are my spirit animals I can summon. And they just like I showed them like the reflectorized holographic like metal background of it, and like, oh my god, this guy's a wizard.
Yeah, you've activated my trap card. I get to have
Yeah,
sex with your wife.
yeah, pretty much. And like I could actually do that right now, only because I live in a town that has like a lot of immigrants, a lot of college students, and so I could conceivably just go out and impregnate as many African women as I wanted, and just report them to ICE for being pro-Palestinian and get them deported once they're about 6 months in. But I don't have like a private bathroom right now. We have like two bathrooms in our apartment, and so
Yeah, that
like
seems like the biggest hole in
yeah,
that theory. Yeah, is your
and
bathroom situation.
yeah, and like so I basically have to piss down the sink half the time, and it kind of smells kind of pissy in here, and also like the toilets because I assume this is due to a shea butter or cocoa butter and someone's inability to wash their ass every day. But there's
Oh,
like
that must be the Jewish roommate with
no,
the ass cocoa butter.
it's the African one. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because he this if you've ever dated a black girl, this is how it works. Like they put shea butter on them, and then they have to shower every day to wash it off, and or else they leave like grease and skin flakes all over the place. It's kind of disgusting, but
Yeah, they get ashy.
yeah, they get ashy if they don't put any oil on though. They get like dry, cracking skin. So I don't have to worry about that because I have pretty oily skin. But
Yeah, they get that 9/11 crossfire bystander look.
yeah, they look like they're 9/11 first responders.
Yeah, which some people are into that. It's like you catch a bitch coming out of the towers. It's like you're ready to go.
Yeah, it's just roll her in some. It's like
A
with the
pile
fat
of
chick.
asbestos.
Yeah,
Just go
just
to
roll her
town.
pile of vessels. Look for the wet spot.
Um, the the other thing with black women is that black guys really do not like black women dating outside of their race, which is one of the things you'll notice. You get a
Yeah.
lot of looks and side glances, and they don't look too happy.
Well, like they also just don't like dating him themselves. It's like this weird situation
Well, they
where,
don't like being alive.
yeah, like the situation that they're in is like, okay, like I don't like you and you're not my first pick, but you have to stick by me, and or else you're just a traitor. And then he immediately goes off and finds like the fattest white woman he can find and impregnates her. And black women get a really raw deal because they're supposed to like be perfectly loyal to these complete fuck ups. And I'm
Yeah,
pissing this ink right now. I couldn't hold
yeah,
it any longer. But
yeah.
they're supposed to be completely loyal to these fuck ups, and they get nothing in return except for STDs and single motherhood. So
Just it's making me laugh that we're on a podcast no one's listening to, talking about how black people need to get their shit together as you piss into your sink.
yeah, yeah. I hope. Can you hear this? By the way,
No, unfortunately, I
okay,
can't hear
good.
it.
Well, the thing is, like, if I was like living in Alabama, in like near one of those towns where they have like the fish processing plants or the sewing plants, I could legit go out and like start like a greenhouse company and make my own organic coffee and have like 200 black women, and I would just marry them all and have like 500 kids and then do the surrogate thing with white donor eggs there. So I could easily do this, and like the competition I would get from the local African American male population would be just completely non-existent.
Did you see the guys who tried doing that in Africa?
Oh
There's
yeah,
a
I read.
documentary about
Yeah,
it.
I don't know. I don't know about the documentary, but I know that there was one guy who was like an English advisor to like one of the Zulu kings, and he ended up betraying him to the Boers or the British Empire or something. And he had like legit like he had like one white wife, four white kids, and then like 100 African wives. And he basically founded a tribe.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's like some biblical shit. That probably
Yeah.
won't end well for him,
Oh
but
no, this was like 100 years ago. He like
yeah.
his descendants visit his grave, and they honor him for not for basically making them about 10 IQ points smarter than the nearby people.
Yeah, he's like who's that guy that created white people that they pray to? Yakub.
Joseph
He's like
Joseph Smith.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
Joseph Smith, the
you
one that
could.
Africans pray to for
I mean,
creating Joseph Smith's created white men.
well, he did create. I mean, he did teach like Native Americans how to become white.
That's true. You
Stop
know,
drinking alcohol.
yeah. But no, there was these guys. They made a documentary on it. This shit happened like a couple years ago. They went to these clinics in Africa who were like desperate for white sperm donors,
No
and
shit, really.
yeah, in the rest of the world, there's rules and restrictions about like how many times a certain guy, a certain individual can donate sperm because they don't want like cross interbreeding and
Yeah, yeah. They don't want
But
people to get inbred because everyone's a
yeah,
cousin.
right. So turns out, who would have guessed, African sperm banks don't have any regulations. So these three guys went on sort of like a road trip kind of buddy cop adventure and donated like 1 billion loads to every sperm bank in Africa.
Can I ask you a question about this?
Yeah.
Like when they were donating loads, did they help each other out when they're in the donation clinic? Like, man, my arm is really short. Sorry, can you like jack me off, bro?
No, I think it was just like just like cheering, like hype man type stuff.
Yeah, you
Like you can
got
do
this,
it.
bro.
You got this,
Yeah.
man. You miss 100% of the shots. You don't take.
Day.
Yeah.
Like I know that there are places in villages in Africa where like the average monthly salary is like $20. So you could just go there and do it manually. You are absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so these guys, one of them started in like Sweden, and he got sued by like an international court because he had like 1,000 kids in Sweden, which is not a big area. So there's like a big problem with all these kids possibly meeting each other. Um, and the craziest thing about him is that he has a YouTube channel.
Okay,
And
you're gonna
all
have to
like
tell me his YouTube channel.
let me see if I can look him up. But he gives like life advice to his army of kids through his YouTube channel. Let me see, guy who jizzed a million times, Sweden. Let me see if that pulls it up. Sweden. Um, it's just giving me the Wikipedia page for Sweden.
Sweden, yes.
Okay, let me try sperm donor. Here we go. Sperm donor who fathered 550 children ordered to stop. A Dutch man suspected of fathering more than 550 children worldwide through sperm donations has been ordered to stop. He was banned from donating to fertility clinics in the Netherlands after he had fathered more than 100 children. Yeah. What else does it say? He deliberately misinformed parents about the number of children he had already fathered in the past. All of these parents are now confronted with the fact that the children in their families are now part of a huge kinship network with hundreds of half siblings, which they did not choose.
Bro,
Um,
this is the most base man to ever exist. I mean,
so
watch you find out he's like retarded or something.
yeah, so the court ordered him to stop busting. That's basically all they did. They said you have to stop donating sperm. That was his punishment. Um, he didn't even go to jail or anything. So this man's a legend. He's truly a writer. Let me find his YouTube channel. What was this guy's name?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, sorry. I hope you didn't lose the recording.
No, you just popped out for a second. You're good.
I accidentally.
Jonathan. Let me see. His name's
That is
John Major.
that is so based. Oh my
His name's
god.
John. Isn't John Major like the guitar player?
I'm gonna have to take a knee right now, like Black Lives Matter, Sam Hyde style.
For John Major.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Oh my.
What an amazing man.
I don't regret anything. And he said that the women who took his seed were loose women. Wow. I don't think the audio is coming through, but this. Oh, I found his. Okay, here's his actual YouTube
This
channel.
is amazing. This guy. Can you post the link to that in the chat, please?
Yeah. So he's talking about cryptocurrency. Obviously, his DNA blood memory. Um,
Like, what's his
don't use
Twitter? He has
sunscreen.
a Twitter account.
Raw milk life. Okay, yeah. So he's one of us for sure, dude. For sure. Oh my god. Yeah. Let me send it to you. Okay, what else? What else does this guy say? Eating raw meat.
I wouldn't do that. Like, I definitely wouldn't eat raw meat. But
No, that's crazy, right? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, there's some stuff you can eat kind of rare. You can eat like a steak tartare, but these guys are eating like organ meat raw, which is crazy, right?
well, I just wouldn't want to eat. Major's a very good name. It's a very solid name. He's a good name physiognomy. But I wouldn't want to eat raw meat because of parasites in the meat. Even stuff that's just like grass fed on like 6,000 altitude, 6,000 foot altitude plateau, just grass fed beef. That's still going to have some parasites. And I mean, you could take ivermectin every 6 months to deal with that, but why take the risk? And granted, you could do stuff like, I assume pickling the meat would help with that somewhat, similar to how the Japanese, I guess they pickle some of their sushi, and that's how they keep it from, despite being raw, hurting you. But I just don't want to deal with that shit, so I'm just gonna cook my fucking meat. It said raw dairy is pretty good for you. I mean, assuming it's not been exposed to like rabies or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mostly eat
Okay, this
like
guy looks amazing.
energy drinks and Zen patches. I don't really give a shit what I put in my body. I just want it all to end as soon as
Yeah,
possible.
I have pretty fucked up health, moderately fucked up from like my parents being retarded and what they fed themselves and fed me.
Fetal alcohol syndrome.
Uh, I don't think I do because I don't have the physiognomy, but my mom basically subsisted on black coffee and pastries while she was pregnant with me, and as a result, I basically have the incel chin and the incel chud, narrow face, narrow lower third of my face. And I've actually had surgery to partially correct this, but I need to get more or something. But I just don't care. I'd rather just grow a beard and move to Saudi Arabia or something, and just buy a wife instead.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah,
incel correction surgery is pretty cool though.
it's pretty expensive, so I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But
It's
I don't
like
really
you
care. Like I'd rather just take Muay Thai or boxing classes and just violence max. You know what violence maxing is, right? It's
no,
just
what is that?
well, it's like instead of looks maxing, where like you're just trying to become a peacock and be more physically attractive, just become like extremely capable of violence and just act like a complete thug, and you can be like the ugliest motherfucker on the planet. But because you can wipe the floor with other men, like women will want to fuck you, and so and not just fuck you, but date you, marry you, have your kids. So just cut straight to the point, cut to all the bullshit instead of looking like you'd be robust and good in a fight and good hunter. Just become good in a fight.
Yeah,
You can.
become Jason from the Halloween movies to get
Well,
pussy.
yeah, you could do that. Freddy Krueger probably has more opportunities though.
Yeah, but Krueger, he has a type.
Yeah, he's a pedophile. That's true.
He's a libertarian.
Yeah, he's an ephebophile because
Yeah, get it right.
if you look at all the people he stalks and kills in his movies, they're all teenagers. They're not like younger than like 12 or 13. So he's not if Freddy Krueger is not a pedophile, he's an ephebophile. I mean,
Yeah.
and but yeah, that would be like if I was like 20 years younger, my advice to young guys would just be like get some sort of income and just take MMA classes. No, I wouldn't actually no, take that back. Don't take MMA classes because that's where all like the retarded like dumb fucks who dropped out of high school in like ninth grade because they couldn't stop like throwing spitballs at the teacher or something. And they're just that's where all the people who are going to be dying of fentanyl overdoses go. Instead, go to like an Irish boxing gym or like a Muay Thai gym where it's just like bald middle-aged guys who just like beat the absolute shit out of each other and do that. Or if you're still in high school, just take wrestling, and
Yeah,
those
you
should
know
be your
what?
three sports.
I've always wanted to learn one of the fake ones. You know where those guys just pretend to
Like
throw
Wing
energy at each
Chun.
other?
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like that would be fun because it's basically like it's
Dragon
like a
Ball Z.
LARPing. Yeah, it's like it's a creative writing thing. It's like who
Yeah, like when I was
threw
in
better
middle
fake
school,
fireballs.
in high school, one of the kids who was like half Filipino and he had access to anime through his Filipino family or something. That's how he was aware of it. This is before anime was mainstream.
He smuggled it in like Cuban cigars.
Yeah, I guess he watched it on TV as a kid in the Philippines when he was visiting them, and then he just brought a bunch of
His
VHS
his
home.
father smuggled it. His father smuggled anime in his
Yeah.
ass from the war.
Anyways, as a result of this, he genuinely believed that he could shoot a fireball, and he would train to shoot a fireball by doing like hundreds of push-ups every day. And he was pretty jacked. I mean, he was short and kind of dumb, but he always had a girlfriend. So
Is
he
that
he,
so?
he had
That's a
he
kind
had
of
that
guy that
retard
used to exist.
confidence.
Yeah, are those guys around anymore? I feel like they all just kill
Ah,
themselves now before they get old enough to doing push-ups, you know?
I don't know. Like, it is illegal to approach a woman in my state to like if you're not on the app or if you're under 6 feet tall,
I meant
it
like
is illegal.
guys who think they can shoot fireballs, not guys who get girlfriends. Guys who think if they do enough push-ups, they can shoot a spirit bomb from their hands. Are
Yeah,
guys like those still
or
around?
destructive discs. Yeah. I don't know if like yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't really interact with the under 20 crowd. I don't interact. I really don't interact with the under 30 crowd, to be honest.
I grew
Mostly
up
just
in
hang.
an apartment complex, and there was this younger black guy. I think he might have been retarded because he used to pull his penis out a lot, but he would always talk about how he could like shoot fireballs from his hands. And we would just go, you could fuck with him a little bit. Um, but one day he got really close. One day I thought he was going to do it, but it never happened. Um, but yeah, there used to be a lot of guys like that. I don't know. I don't know what
Well,
happened to him. Um,
I mean, it's a really interesting phenotype. I think we should keep him around for a little bit. Like instead, a lot of the women they would have married all became furries or trans. So you're kind of losing out on the more interesting physiognomies on both the male and the female end with this woke stuff. The more, shall I say, experimental physiognomies.
yeah, yeah, that's a good point. It's like the stuff that the first monkey that figures out it could start a fire. You know, but no, in our times, nobody has sex with that monkey because he's weird and he pulls his penis out in his apartment complex. So we got to figure out how to solve that problem so we
Well,
can get.
more abstract, or I don't know if that's the right word, but if you look at it from like a higher perspective, like more bird's eye view, the people who are like more willing to experiment and figure out new things and are not really afraid of not fitting in, these are the people who are not succeeding in our society. Like the only people who succeed are the ones who are either like, and by succeed I mean like reproduce, are the ones who like either have their parents tell them exactly what to do and they just mindlessly obey their parents, and their parents are sane. So it's we're selecting for people who have really good parents and for people who are clued in to how the system actually works, or who are just like hyper conformist to their culture. Like let's say Southerners, they're really conformist to the whole, you work hard, you play hard, no gay shit sort of culture, which, hey, works for them. They're doing great. They're not dying out compared to like, let's say, like old Anglo-Saxon wasps in the north who are like not already rich are just fucking dying out because all
Yeah,
their
that's
women.
actually our state motto is work hard and no gay shit. That's on our
Yeah,
state flag.
yeah, it's exactly what it says. But like all the non-rich Yankees are dying out because all the women are just like falling for every fucking psyop in the book because they're really smart but not very wise and not very charismatic. And then the men just check out because they're tired of dealing with their bullshit. So it's
Yeah.
basically just fucking over for us.
You know
But
what worries me about the South is that I feel like we might just be like 20 years behind everybody.
that's
Like
not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
well, it is a bad thing if you consider that like the rest of the country is starting to get out of it and we're just
Ah,
starting to
yeah,
go through it. We just had
yeah,
our first we just had our first float with a gay pride thing
yeah. You're
come
just
through
getting
our Mardi
started
Gras.
on this shit, man.
We just had our first one. We so This is like patient zero. We just had our first COVID incident. You know.
Well, you should
Um,
consider yourself like as a guest of your state. You should consider yourself like an antibody, and so you're here to inoculate the locals so they don't suffer like you did. I mean,
yeah, I'm the smallpox blankets, and I have to kill all of the gay people. Is what you're saying?
yeah, yes, yes, you have to basically like
I have
you
to
go to
give them
church
my
out there,
AIDS.
right? When you go to church, you need to set up like if they let parishioners talk, you need to do like maybe once a month thing where you just go over like okay, like a scientific like breakdown of the effects of porn on the human brain and
Are you
just
asking
explain
me
these
if
people
my
why
church
they
has an
should
open
ban.
mic night?
Yeah, basically just go to open mic night in your church and do like a PowerPoint presentation on why they should ban porn. And then change the subject to like gays, trans, who's molesting who, how these social contagions spread via molestation and grooming, and how to spot like even just basic physiognomy posting would do these people wonders. Like you're basically like you're like a visiting demigod, and they're like Aztecs, and you can show up as like the white like blue-eyed, blonde hair demigod covered in like quizzicatal feathers and just teach them, okay, here's how you spot a homo, and then they're going to be like, oh my god, he's correct, and then you just watch them just like chimp out and just burn down like massage parlors and men's clubs and
Yeah, well,
bathhouses.
I'm like that guy from the first Terminator movie who shows up from the future,
You're John Connor. Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah,
I have to fuck the president into you to save the future.
yeah.
You know, I'm gonna try that line at church, open
You-
mic night,
You're
and see how it
you're
goes.
you're West Coast Yankee John Connor. You're
Yeah,
here to teach
exactly.
them how to stop the Terminator in like a wig and a dress. And but
Yeah,
he still talks like
I'm
Arnold
here.
Schwarzenegger though. He still
I'm here
talks
to
and looks
stop.
like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm here to stop Guynet.
I'm here to stop. I'm here to stop GayNet, GridsNet.
Yeah, come with me if you want to live past 25.
Yeah, come with me if you don't want a 41%.
Okay. On that note, I gotta go make sure my kids aren't dead. Is there
Okay,
anything else you wanted to add to our amazing podcast?
I like the only thing I have to add is the like none of this is very serious, even if it's like existential. You shouldn't take it too seriously because if you look at it as like a game, even just a video game, like your mind relaxes and you can calm down and you can play the game and you can, you have a chance. You can fight back and you can fight back as a happy warrior instead of as some like downer fucking wignat. We're all gonna die. It's over. Be depressed. Oh, oh, this one Middle Eastern ethnic group controls everything forever, and they can never be defeated. Oh God, it's all over. Like, don't be that guy, man. Like, even if that's true, like you should still be happy that you have the opportunity to fight for a future instead of just laying down and dying.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a great
just
point.
have fun, man. Just have fun. Like, there's an opportunity in everything. Every time, like one door closes, like there's always a way to exploit it. Like even if like I've been canceled, I've been homeless, my life's been ruined so many times. I've lost count. I've been expelled from community colleges for being a shitlord. Like like my life has been destroyed. My health has been destroyed. I'm like closing in on late middle age, and it's just who cares? Just have fun. Like you don't even have to believe in God. Like just you could be like the dumbest wignat. Oh my, I worship my race, duh, and just have fun. You don't have to be a downer about everything.
You had me in the first half, and then you buttoned it up by saying you ruined your life and God's not real. No, I just want to
Oh,
blow my brains out.
yeah.
No,
Well,
I'm
the
just
thing is,
kidding.
like, even when I ruin my life, man, like, do you know how fun it is to like sleep outside and like in the rain in like the Pacific Northwest and just every day is a camping trip and like you never know who you're going to meet and you can hitchhike and just talk to people and really get into their lives and see how other people see the world and maybe hitchhike out and work in like a weed trimming operation one week and the next week you're picking apples like an organic farm and then next week you have like a girlfriend for like 6 months. Who knows? Life's an adventure and you're not going to
That
accomplish
is,
anything. You're not going to
yeah.
accomplish anything sitting in your ass and being sad and being a little bitch about shit. You have to actually
That
get out on the highway and start walking with your thumb out.
that's great advice, especially if there's younger people listening.
Yeah.
And avoid negativity.
Yeah.
Avoid people that are downers and
Like
fags with bad
it,
vibes.
unless you can feed off negative energy, like just disown anyone who is a fucking complete and fucking downer all the time. And I am a
Yep.
downer a lot of the time, but that's just my private thoughts. Like in terms of my actions, I am always positive, no matter what I'm actually privately thinking or venting about to other people. And venting is necessary, and you should vent.
Yeah, you should ventilate lots of people, like we talked about earlier.
I wouldn't consider them people, but
All right, man. Well, this was we did an hour somehow. We didn't
yep.
even have a topic.
I didn't even get to talk about game balance. What the fuck, man? Or rant about
All
Final
right,
Fantasy VII.
next time we'll talk about Final Fantasy VII and the keyed open source phone that everybody wants to hear about.
Yeah, yeah, the key to open source phone, that would be so based. It's probably gonna have, like, knobs and shit on it.
Yeah,
That's
everybody's
what
been asking about that. So
yeah, I'm
next
sure.
episode we'll do an hour 30 on the keyed phone.
Okay, well, it's been good talking to you, Jacob. Take it easy. This is Elf Foot Job signing out.
All right, man. Good talking to you, dude.
You too.